Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is
Oh my.
chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got it restocked with the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We were, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well folks, it's been a week since we've covered polls heading into the 2022 election, and you know what that means. 1 week closer to the 2022 election, 1 week closer to the demise of the Democrat Party. And of course, absolutely nothing has changed when it comes to my outlook headed into the next election cycle. And that concept alone, of course, we must continue to celebrate and continue to cover, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. See, here's the thing. When things start to get real, that's when people start to realize what's really going on and people start to open their eyes. When life is good, I mean, under Donald Trump, life was good, the economy was great. Up until mid-2020, things were as bright as you can possibly imagine. And of course, when life is getting easy, when life is good, you gotta find something to complain about. And you might end up taking things for granted. And in this environment is exactly where Democrats thrive. When people don't have real issues, Democrats create issues and get people focused on all kinds of frivolous social justice nonsense. They start acting like a bunch of political con artists. And you know what? It works. But when things get real, and especially when things start to get real under a Democrat president, once people have real economic and financial problems of safety in their communities, and increased national security concerns, then of course, as expected, people's focus moves away from nonsense social issues that Democrats thrive on, and people start to wake up and realize just how out of touch Democrats are. And that concept is exactly what's playing out right now. The American electorate is realizing that Democrat politicians, Democrat messaging, Democrat leadership is out of touch with reality and out of touch with the working class and regular American people. And folks, it's not just me saying that, so let me prove to you, based on the data and based on evidence, exactly where the American electorate is at as of right now heading into 2022. But of course, before we get into any of the content for this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share this video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the headline says it all. Voters say that Biden and Democrats are, quote, out of touch and condescending in damning new poll. The bad news for President Joe Biden and the Democrat Party continued to roll in this week in the form of a new battleground district poll that found voters increasingly favoring the Republican Party ahead of the midterm elections. The poll conducted by the National Republican Congressional Committee, published on Wednesday, found that among voters in 77 battleground congressional districts across the country, Biden's approval rating sat 15 points underwater. According to the survey, 40% of voters in these districts, which Biden won in 2020 by a net of 5.5 points, approved of the job that the president is doing, while 55% disapproved. An overall negative perception on Biden and the Democrat Party seemed to be driving the numbers, as 75% of swing voters in the districts reportedly agreed that Democrats are, quote, out of touch with everyday real Americans, as well as condescending towards voters. Well, who would have thought that would start biting the Democrats in the behind? I mean, no. You mean to tell me that actual honest middle ground voters, independents, nonpartisans, view Democrat leadership as, quote, out of touch and condescending? And of course, cue the Nancy Pelosi clip of the week.
and to this day, my husband, Paul, who was born and raised in San Francisco, I was born and raised in Baltimore. To this day, he likes to dine at 8, and I like to eat at 5:30. Like a peasant. No.
Nancy Pelosi shows up on a radio talk show, starts talking about memories of her and her father, and how her father was a very cultured European-style man, dining late at the end of the day at 8:30 p.m., but she prefers to eat at 5:30, quote, like the peasants. Nancy Antoinette strikes again. You mean to tell me that the Democrat Party that purports to be representing and standing for the working class and disenfranchised communities is ran by a bunch of out-of-touch, multi-millionaire, city-dwelling leftist elitists? Supported by massive corporations, billionaires, and finance and tech oligarchs? No, who would have seen that one coming? What a surprise! No way! Condescending? The Democrats? No, of course not. As they look into the camera and tell you that black people don't know how to use the internet and can't make their way to the DMV to get a driver's license to show up to vote. They just don't know how to find the DMV. Oh, well, gas prices and inflation are through the roof. Well, I don't know. Take public transportation transportation. Get yourself a $60,000 plus Tesla. Just buy an electric vehicle, bro. And then, of course, the most ridiculous one from Bloomberg last week. If you make less than $300,000 a year, maybe consider not eating meat anymore. Just eat lentils. Avoid chemotherapy and treatments for your dog that may be sick. Or what the talking point is clearly going to evolve into eventually. Don't eat steak anymore, just eat bugs. And live in the dumpster behind Walmart. I mean, Democrat talking points 101. Blame Donald Trump, blame Vladimir Putin, or blame the voters themselves. And if you're not blaming anyone, then you're shaming them. The entire Democrat platform is nothing but condescension and a bunch of out-of-touch liberal elitists pushing absolutely garbage talking points. And don't take it from me, once again, take it from the DCCC chairman, House Democrats campaign chairman. Stop blaming voters for thinking we're doing a terrible job. Quote, the problem is us. Well, if they can admit it, and certainly Americans that think that Democrats are out of touch and divisive aren't wrong. Maloney, who appears to be one of the few Democrats in leadership who paid attention to the results of Glenn Youngkin's surprise win in Virginia's gubernatorial race last year, told the Post that voters see Democrats as, quote, divisive and preachy and working to undermine parents. They think that we're divisive and too focused on cultural issues. They think that we're preachy. They think that we act like we know better than parents when it comes to their kids in school. The problem is not the voters, Maloney continued. The problem is us. And revelation of the year goes to the DCCC chairman, Mr. Maloney, for finally admitting the obvious. Maybe a couple years too late, but once again, total vindication. You know, and it always takes me back to that same point. No wonder Donald Trump beat out-of-touch liberal elitist Hillary Clinton. No wonder Donald Trump was so popular and remains incredibly popular, and it continues to grow. At least the man was real, and at least he cared about real issues that regular working-class Americans were feeling. And folks, once again, the numbers don't lie. Even from left-wing sources, here we have 538's Trump's favorability trend. Year to year from March 2021, 40.9% favorable to 54.8% unfavorable, a negative 13.9% spread. Fast forward a year later to March 2022, Donald Trump's favorability rating jumps up an astonishing 6.3% to 47.2. Not even the most incredible number. The most recent Emerson poll has Donald Trump's favorability at 59% favorable and 39% unfavorable, a plus 20 margin. That's not just good. That is incredible and across the board with every single voter demographic. I mean, just take a look at the numbers on the screen, folks. The numbers don't lie, and really it's just the concept behind it all. With real economic issues and real issues affecting the working class and affecting concerned parents on a cultural level, the Democrats are just a bunch of out-of-touch liberal elitists. And all it took was a disastrous first term from Joe Biden to wake everybody up. In the end, a bad situation, even a disastrous situation, can end up turning positive when it's all said and done. And an absolute blowout of the Democrat Party would certainly be a great start. That's what I got for you guys on this video, though. I'm going to get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.